What's up YouTube? In this video I'm going to be explaining the best and the worst talents you should use on Scout. Without any further ado, let's get right into it. For our first talent we have Sprinter. Now since Scout is the second fastest character behind Journalist, if you wanted to you could add this on to get that extra 8% speed buff. Me personally, I use this because I like all my characters being fast. It helps me run away from the neighbor way quicker than I can without it. Next is damage resist. Now since Scout doesn't really have that much skills to go by, you could add this talent on if you have like an extra slot that you want to put on, or if you just want to take less damage in general. But all seriousness, people would only use this talent to prevent themselves from getting knocked down easily from the neighbor throwing items at them. When using Scout, this should be no problem for you since you have your second skill called Evasive Maneuvers. Evasive Maneuvers gives you a few seconds of acceleration, aka speed, if you hit the neighbor 3 times in a row using your slingshot. Scout is one of the 3 characters that is able to move very quickly so the neighbor wouldn't have a clean shot on them using a box or a chair. The other 2 are Leader and Journalist. So to sum it all up, do not use damage resist and recovery speed. All you need is your slingshot and decent movement. Next is Nimble Hands. I don't recommend this talent because I'm going to assume that you are fighting the neighbor with people. If you are having trouble with your aim hitting the neighbor, all you have to do is to hit the neighbor 1 time with your slingshot to reset the regeneration timer, so you and your team can refill their stamina and fight some more. If a fellow teammate does end up getting captured, now's the time to pull out your slingshot to save them. It's actually impossible for the neighbor to get away with grabbing a kid if Scout is near, unless, Next is Strong Hands. I would recommend this talent if you are always with someone to easily kill the neighbor. Scout is one of the best partners to have for jumping, but if you're alone then you would be wasting your time. But yeah, you should only use your slingshot a couple of times when you're fighting the neighbor. Items will always do more damage. Next is Jump High. Now this talent is a bad talent to use overall on any character, so for Scout I would not use this. It's a waste of a talent slot. Next is Stun Resistance. Already it's a good combo for Scout with her skill Evasive Maneuvers, but if you are already using Sprinter then it would become 10 times better. While running away from the neighbor, if you end up taking fall damage or getting hit from an item, then you could easily shake it off, run some more, and if the neighbor catches up to you, then it's showtime for your slingshot. Next is Resistance to Accidents. If you get caught in traps a lot, then you could just have this on, but more than anything I would practice your movement so you would be able to maneuver around the map without stepping in traps. But since you're using Scout, you can easily disarm those traps with your slingshot, so you or your teammates won't step into traps later on in the future. Lastly, we have Scout's 2 personal talents, which are Nut Reserve and Maneuvering. For Nut Reserve, I most definitely would recommend this talent since it increases the maximum amount of nuts by 3, making your capacity hold 13. Having more nuts is excellent for Scout because that's how you basically use your skills. If you're empty on nuts, then Scout is basically a regular character, so you need them 24/7. Lastly is Maneuvering. This is a kind of choice talent to use depending on if you hit the neighbor a lot using your slingshot. In my case, I would use this talent because I hit the neighbor a lot with my slingshot. But if you want to get good with Scout, use your slingshot a lot, which means use this talent. Well, it looks like we covered all the best and the worst talents to use as Scout. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.